Protesters in Hong Kong are trying to take their demands for full democracy to another level as China celebrates its National Day. These are the latest pictures of Civic Square. This is the main protest site. The holiday marks the founding of Communist China. Protest organisers are hoping for their biggest demonstration so far. Well, the movement's leaders say they'll announce plans to escalate civil disobedience if Hong Kong's chief executive doesn't step down. They want China to drop its plans to vet candidates for Hong Kong's leadership election in 2017. CY Leung is attending a flag-raising event to mark China's National Day. He's called for an end to protests, saying he thinks they're getting out of hand.
The organizers of Occupy Central have said several times before that if the movement goes out of control, then it will be halted. So now I call upon the organizers to fulfill their promise and end the action immediately.
Well, Scott Heidler is following demonstrations at the main site in Civic Square in the heart of Hong Kong. And Scott, those words from CY Leung falling on deaf ears as far as the protesters are concerned.
Absolutely, yeah. They braved quite a rainy night last night, Tuesday night, and now on Wednesday morning. I've been here, for the last several mornings running for this main site where the protesters are. And this is the morning where I've seen the most people that have spent the night. And again, it was a very, very soggy night overnight. And as you said, organizers are expecting a lot more people to come here. It's because it's China's National Day, so it's a holiday here in Hong Kong. Many people are off work. So organizers are expecting a lot more people to show up here. Now, they're saying that today, if their demands aren't met, and it certainly doesn't seem as though they're going to be, two of them are being that the chief executive of Hong Kong resign. That's not happening, and that they changed their decision of how the election in 2017 is going to carry out. That's not going to happen. So what will happen today, the organizers say, is they're going to take this civil disobedience into its second phase. They haven't really detailed what that's going to be, but we're getting some indications. Obviously, that's a ramping up of the areas that they're occupying. Across Victoria Bay, we know that there's another area, actually a very popular shopping area for China mainland tourists coming in. They have started to occupy there as well. So they're expanding, buffering where they already hold territory, if you will, with more protesters coming in. But then also they're expanding locations where they're occupying as well.
And Scott, as you say, neither side looks as though they're willing to back down right now. If these demonstrations do escalate, isn't there a concern that we'll see a return to the tear gassing and the riot police as we saw on the weekend?
Absolutely, that has to be in the back of the minds of many of the protesters who are here. And this is the main area where we saw the tear gas being fired just a couple of days ago. And it was interesting to see kind of an evolution of the people and the motivation for people to come out to this site and other sites around here. On Monday, the main motivation that new people were coming out is because they saw that tear gas being fired, and they were angered by the police action of that. They came in on Monday. Then Tuesday, it just kind of built the momentum from that, and more people were coming in because the movement was getting larger. So that's why also we're probably hearing from organizers they're going to take this into a second phase of civil disobedience. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Also, it needs to be noted that National Day today, obviously we're in front of the protesters, the pro-democracy protesters. There's also going to be a gathering in Victoria Park, which is just down that way on the other side of Hong Kong, for pro-Beijing supporters, those who believe that Hong Kong should stay the way it is, and they believe that the election reform is the best way to go for Hong Kong. So there are other people who will be out on the streets, who will be out in the city today, who support the decisions made by the government here.
Scott, thanks very much indeed for that. Scott Heidler in Hong Kong there. Well, Hong Kong's leader, CY Leung, is attending a flag-raising ceremony to mark the 65th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. These are the latest pictures of that event. It's being held in Hong Kong's Wan Chai district. Rob McBride is there for us. And Rob, just bring us up to speed as to what's happening where you are.
Well, it was at 8 o'clock. That's the time that they have this hugely symbolic raising of the flag. That has just taken place here. It is usually the focal point for anti-Beijing protests. Usually you could expect on a day like today maybe several dozen protesters. We've had several thousand down here today, and this is as close as they have been able to get to the flag raising. It takes place in a place called Beijing Square out on the waterfront. That's about 400 meters away from here, and that's as close as they were allowed to get, so that nobody who actually attends that ceremony will see any of the protesters. What the protesters do, though, is they try to make themselves heard at least. So when we had the flag raising exactly at 8 o'clock, all of this area erupted in very loud booing and so on. And what you can't see from here probably are police officers. If the protesters were wondering where the police officers have been for the last couple of days or so, well, a lot of them are here. Ranks and ranks of police officers making sure that nobody broke through to try to ruin the day, and also a very heavy screening on people, journalists and also members of the public, because it is a very important day for people here in Hong Kong as well as throughout mainland China to attend a ceremony like this, but very strict screening to make sure that no protesters get inside.
But Rob, as you say, an important day for China. We were speaking to Scott earlier, and he was saying that today protest leaders are going to announce a ramping up of the demonstrations. How is Beijing going to react to that, particularly if they start spreading to the mainland?
Well, that's right. I mean, that is the big fear, of course, that any kind of disturbance like this would ever reach mainland China. China is, of course, obsessed about social order and maintaining stability. And you can be sure that in all of the coverage by mainland news media, state-controlled news media, they will see the raising of the flag here. They will see other events, cultural events, official receptions by dignitaries here in Hong Kong, but they will see very little of the kind of demonstrations that have been taking place on the streets of Hong Kong. But really does, events like this really do ramp up the political temperature here. I mean, for patriots, if you're patriotic, to have a protest like this, it's the raising of your national flag on your national day, there is nothing more offensive. There are many pro-Beijing people here who would tell these people, who have all sorts of very foul words for the pro-democracy camp, and who would say, look, yes, you can have your differences, your disputes with communist rulers of China, but on a day like today, it is deeply offensive to be down here making a protest that you do in such a way. So it really does show how divisive this issue is and how inflammatory the whole situation is becoming here in Hong Kong.
Rob, thanks very much for that. Rob McBride there in Hong Kong.